Hey everybody, Bladesofgod here from Hammer Bros Gaming, coming at you with our newest installment in our Gears Tactics, Immortal Legion Achievement Guide. The Immortal Legion achievement tasks us with completing the entire game on insane difficulty without losing a single unit. Now, unlike on the lower difficulties, you cannot go down but not out. If your health bar drops all the way to 0, you're dead. Your character's dead. You need to reload your checkpoint. You need to restart the mission. Don't worry if you need to do that. It's going to happen, even if you're following a guide like this. The RNG and the AI is very, very persistent, and even if you do everything right, sometimes you're still going to die. If you got to reload a checkpoint or restart an act or a mission, don't worry, not going to invalidate the achievement. The important thing is you make it all the way to the end of the game and finish the last mission without losing any units along the way. Now, let's get to what this video is about. This video specifically is going to be covering Act 1-3, which is going to see Gabe and Sid, who are the two required units for this mission, being tasked with rescuing a couple of gears who are being stuck in torture pods. This mission is going to introduce us to a couple of things. It's going to introduce us first to a new enemy type called the Grenadier, who, if you've played any of the other Gears of War games, you know that they like to carry Nasher shotguns and use frag grenades. He can be a very, very challenging enemy. He's very tanky, and they like to just bull rush right into your units and get right up close to do a lot of damage. I'm going to show you guys a couple of tactics to deal with them and get them off the board without causing too much in the way of headaches. So hopefully that'll help you out if you're struggling with them. And the other thing this mission is going to introduce us to is the heavy class of unit that we can use. Heavies carry a Mulcher machine gun or a Mulcher chain gun. And they can deal a lot of damage. They're great for Overwatch and covering certain areas. So very versatile unit, very helpful unit. If you're finding this guide or this series helpful, please consider subscribing and joining our Hammer Nation. Become one of the Hammer Bros. Give the video a like. We greatly appreciate it. We'd love to have you on board. But that's it for me, guys. Let's dive right into the video because that's what I know you're here for. So let's get into it. We're going to be looking first at the gear that we're running. You can see Gabe and Sid are up to level 2. This is important. I should have done this right from the get-go, but I forgot. Make sure you change Gabe's stim grenade to a frag grenade. So we're going to look at some of the stuff we grabbed for gear after the last mission. We're going to change out the standard mag for a drum mag. And looking at some of the boots, or the greaves, whatever you want to call them, guards, we've got 15 health and heavyweight, which gives us a 5% damage reduction, but seeing as how we're trying to avoid taking any damage, we're just going to stick with 10% evasion. Looking over at Sid, we're definitely going to switch out for that 75% critical. Then going down to our scout, definitely want our patrol. Patrol is going to give us increased Overwatch damage. And then we have Swift, which gives us a chance to get a second shot or 15 damage on the power barrel, so we're going to take the power barrel. And then looking at our heavy, we're going to look at our scope and get the precision adapters for the accuracy bonus. And that's pretty much all the new gear we're going to be adding. With this being the second guide, I'm hoping that everybody's going to follow from the first guide into the second guide, so you'll see the rest of the gear that I have. But if you don't, go ahead and just go back, look at the very beginning of the first video, and it'll show everything for gear. What you saw me just swap out is all I have for new stuff. You can see that this modifier, we have an option, or for this mission, I'm sorry, should have a optional objective of kill 5 or more enemies using rescued gears with no modifiers. It does have a limitation of 2 units, and Gabe and Sid are required, so that pretty much takes all the choice out of our hands. So we're going to go ahead and skip our cutscenes here. This mission introduces the Grenadier. Grenadiers are so much fun to deal with, but we have a couple of tricks up our sleeve that are going to make short work of these super tanky enemies. So when this mission starts, I find, especially on Insane, that it's easier to go to the right-hand side first and advance fairly far up. You don't want to push yourself all the way up into like the little street light or lamp posts. I find that's a little too far, but right about where I landed there is a good spot. But as I was saying, the right side, in my experience, has been easier to tackle first than the left side, because if you go to the left, you're going to have the Grenadier spawn in with his drones, and you're going to kind of get surrounded where you have the torture pod on the left that you're trying to rescue the gear from, and then you're going to have the Grenadier and the drones coming in behind you, kind of from the right. So you end up getting surrounded, and it's just more difficult. If you go to the right first, you end up getting all your enemies coming from one direction, which makes life a little bit easier. Not necessarily easy, but easier. So on our second turn, we're going to move up to this sort of sandbags and luggage looking area and Overwatch straight ahead. And all we're trying to do here is slow down any of the rifle drones from advancing, because what we want to try to do is actually get that Grenadier singled out so we can take him off the board, because his shotgun is devastating. It is almost a guaranteed one-shot kill unless he gets a partial hit. So that's all I'm trying to do here, is stop the drones from advancing, get the Grenadier, who the AI for Grenadiers is super aggressive. It's going to try to charge in and advance on you. And something to remember about Grenadiers is that when you get close to them, if they haven't taken damage, they're going to attack instantly, so you can't use the instant kill attack like the chainsaw or the retro charge. You actually have to damage them first, and what that does is it makes them more resilient to damage and lets them travel further, but it gets rid of that instant, the reactive attack. So as you can see, he took damage. He's in the rage or rampage mode right now. And you can see we did an okay job of keeping these drones back. We actually were able to overwatch both of them and put a little bit of damage on them. So used Sid's grenade to take them off the board together. And now this worked out just about perfectly. That Grenadier advanced enough so he's not in the overwatch cone of the drone behind him. And you got to be very careful. If I had gone to either side, or especially behind this Grenadier, I would have taken an overwatch shot. It would have probably interrupted me, and I would have been just a sitting duck. So I'm going to fall back. I have one action point left, and I'm actually going to fall back to the far side, the far front side of this planter for cover. And then I'm going to move over with Sid and use my overwatch again, hopefully to get an interrupt in case any of the drones try to charge. So as we can see, we got the drone to charge. It didn't interrupt him, but it did do a little bit of damage. He's going up top, which is not ideal because the way that they overwatch, he's going to block anyone from going up there. So the only thing we can really do at this point is try to use a grenade to knock him out of commission. And you'll see that it's really tough because we can't push up at this point too far, because they almost have an overlapping or a doubled overwatch cone. So we have the one on the ground level who's facing out through the way we have to advance, and then we have the one up top who's overwatching the ladder. So that means that I can't really do much to take these guys off the board right now, and I don't want to push up too far because it's going to give the guy on the high ground a clear shot at me, even if I'm behind half cover. And it's going to give the drone on the ground the chance to move around and kind of flank me. So I'm being very cautious right here, and what I end up doing is, you saw I reloaded with Sid, and I'm going to reload with Gabe. That's going to give me 2 action points each for my units. I'm going to move Gabe up just a little bit so I can get a better overwatch position on both, kind of both locations. If that drone decided to come down the ladder on the next turn, I'm going to cover him with Sid, and then I covered the ground level drone with Gabe. So now, no matter what they move, they're pretty much going to get overwatched. Thankfully, the drone up top missed his shot. This one decided to take cover and just overwatch me again. So this looks worse than before, but it's actually better. So it looks worse because Gabe is completely pinned down right now, which is fine. We have a couple of things that we could do. If I had a grenade, I could have tried to grenade the drone up top and then use my retro charge to take the other drone off the board. But you're going to see I do things a little bit differently here. One of the big things to remember about this game is that you don't need to rush. It's a beautiful thing about turn-based games. What I'm actually doing is I was kind of looking over my options, and I remembered that Sid had the, I believe it's Intimidate ability. So that clears the overwatch cone and clears the path for me to use my retro charge to take out the drone that was overwatching Gabe. Now Gabe has all 3 of his action points, or his ability points, whatever, I can't remember what they're called, his AP, and he has his chainsaw ready to go, so I'm going to actually use that to take him off the board. And now we have cleared all of our enemies from this area. You can see that little sign popped up, battlefield cleared, no enemies detected, and I've got 1 point or 1 move left with Gabe, so I'm going to actually go over and grab that item crate, or the supply, I can't remember what they're called, loot crate, item crate, whatever, the pickup. And since there's no enemies of it around right now, I don't really have to worry too much about where I'm going to take cover. I've got 9 turns left, we've got 1 pod opened, 1 pod to go, and now we have additional firepower in the way of a heavy. So this is good, we like this setup. The heavy is excellent for laying down overwatch fire, plus it gives us another grenade to use, which is always a good thing. You're going to love your grenades on Insane. It's just, they're lifesavers. So we're going to come down here. Unfortunately, when you rescue a soldier from a torture pod, they only get one move. And depending upon the mission, sometimes I use that to attack if there's still enemies around. But like I said, there were no enemies, so I'm just going to move him up. So here we go. We have our reinforcements drop in. 1 Grenadier, 4 Wretches. The Wretches, because all of my allies or all of my units are in one spot, they kind of all advance in the same way or the same route. And they end up bunched up together, which is nice because my 1 grenade from Gabe here takes out 3 of them and takes about a quarter or a third of the health away from that 4th Wretch. And what we're going to do now is I'm thinking, okay, I've got my my Lancer back, my chainsaw ability back, and I could definitely use that on the Grenadier. So I'm going to take my newly acquired Heavy, use his grenade to take the Wretch off the board, because those Wretches still have that reaction attack that if you get too close, they're going to attack you. The grenade takes the Wretch off the board, it damages the Grenadier, so the Grenadier goes berserk. He loses his reaction attack, and I'm going to run up with my chainsaw, take him off the board, and once again, the battlefield is clear of enemies, which is great. So we haven't really taken a whole lot of damage. We took a little bit from a partial hit from a drone early on, but all of our units are healed up. Sid's getting close to having his grenade back, so we're in really good shape. We got 7 turns remaining. So we're going to kind of use these cars for cover. You can see that the way the screen's oriented right now, the rescue pod is due north of us. So I'm going to run up, grab this other supply crate, or this other case, and I'm going to park Gabe in this corner here. And the idea is to use Overwatch to kind of blockade this entrance. And what I was hoping was going to happen was that the AI was going to come rushing through that opening right there, through that gate, and I was going to have all sorts of Overwatch cones set up on it. And you can see that drone right there, he's going to cause, I believe it's that one, it might be one of the other ones, but I think he's going to cause me a little bit of a problem because he's not going to do what I wanted him to do, because the AI is going to get a little frisky with me here, and he's going to actually go over that wall. And in all my playthroughs, I did not realize that you could go over the wall there. So that kind of caught me off guard, and he put Gabe in an Overwatch, which not ideal, but again, we're going to adapt and overcome this situation. So I'm going to move Sid up. I know I need to get Gabe out of that Overwatch cone. I've got this grenade right here, so I'm going to go ahead, toss it right on top of that drone, take out as much of the health as I can, and destroy the cover that he was hiding behind. He's interrupted, so my units are now free to move. I'm going to then take and retrocharge the... no, I was going to retrocharge. Normally I would have retrocharged and moved Sid up, but I only had 1 action remaining, so instead I'm going to use Gabe's Saw ability, take this drone off the board, and then put Gabe back into cover on the right here behind that little, I don't know, lamp, pillar, monument thing, just in case any of the other drones decide they want to come up and, you know, try to take a shot on me. But I got full cover right there, so that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to put Sid right where Gabe was, and I'm going to move my Heavy up. So this isn't great. It gives me some shots with the Heavy if they decide to charge me. You're gonna see right there, activates the Overwatch, and he actually gets interrupted, which is exactly what I was hoping was going to happen. And this means that I don't have any of my units in Overwatch right now. Now we're down to 5 turns. 5 out of 15 means we've used 2/3 of our turns, and we still got 2 enemies on the board. Not a big deal. Move Sid up a little bit. He's got 2 action points left, and we get a crit hit that takes that drone down. So we're down to 1, and now I believe I'm going to move Gabe up to the ramp. Or I'm not to the ramp. I'm sorry, to the blocks. Yeah, the blocks where Sid was. Again, I'm going to Overwatch, and I know that this is the last enemy guarding that torture pod, so I don't need to rush. It's not like I'm going to get flanked or anything, and all I'm trying to do is force that AI to move into my Overwatch cone so I have a better chance at damaging him. It didn't work out the way I wanted. I'm trying to figure out how I can take this drone's Overwatch off the board, and then I remember, oh wait, if the drone came up over these boxes, I can go over these boxes. So I do that, and then I decide, well, I can't use my my retro charge here because this crate's right in the way, but I can use my Intimidate again. So Intimidate's going to take the drone's Overwatch off the board. Gabe has his saw ability ready, so I'm going to run up with the saw, take him off the board using the saw. That clears the path we're on our 4 turns left, but like I said, no enemies left, and now we're going to be able to kind of move up, grab the last ally out of the torture pod, and we're going to move up, and to the very top of the screen you can see there's another supply crate, so we're going to go up and grab that, because early game you want to get as many of these supply crates as we can, so we have the best, I wouldn't even say the best available gear, but rather you have better gear to equip your soldiers with, because you need every little advantage you can get. So I'm going to have my heavy, who I just rescue this unit from the torture pod. That ends our timer, or the kill timer I believe they call it. So I no longer need to rush at all. The pressure's kind of lifted. Now my optional objective was to kill 5 units, or 5 enemies with rescued units. And I've killed 1 so far. So we're going to get a chance here to do better than that, because we're going to have a bunch of wretches drop in. So I now have another support unit, which gives me another saw instant kill attack. And unfortunately, because all support units, when you rescue them, they have the stim grenades, it doesn't give me another grenade to work with this time. But that's okay. That's small potatoes. That's not a big issue at all. So here we go. There's one flight of 4 wretches that Reaver just dropped off. We got another flight with, I believe, 4. Yep, so there's 4 more wretches. So that brings our total wretch count up to 8. Not a big deal at all. They're going to all advance the same way. You can see we got a big wall of wretches up ahead. And all we're going to do is we're going to see who has grenades. So I know that my new support has stim, but that doesn't help me. So I'm going to move my heavy up. He's a rescued unit. He has a grenade ready. And he can throw it down here to take out 1, 2, 3, oh that's right, 4 wretches with 1 grenade. Not only does that take out half the reinforcements that just dropped in, it also now gives me my 5 killed 5 enemies using a rescued unit. So I'm now going to fall back a little bit with him. And now I'm going to set up my Overwatch cordon for this little, I guess, hallway. No, it's not a hallway, it's a gate. So we're going to Overwatch this gate with just about all of our units and hope that the wretches decide to just bum rush us. And what they'll do is very rarely without disrupt on your weapon, will the wretches get interrupted. But you can see 3 of them actually did this time. Even from the lighter guns, the heavy is very good at interrupting, even if doesn't have disrupt on as a ability. But we took 1 off the board. We got 3 left to deal with. So we're going to have Sid use a standard Retro Lancer shot on this weakened drone. This weakened wretch. He's only got 48 health. He's taken off the board and decides to go ragdolling across the hood of a destroyed car. Sid's got 1 shot left. Why not? Let's try it. And it brings him all the way down to 31. We're going to bring our heavy up here to the corner. He's going to have full cover on this wall, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to take out this wretch with a standard shot. That's going to be the last enemy on the field. And now it's just a mad dash to the extraction point. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is we're going to expend all of our ability points or action points moving up. It's not enough to reach the extraction, and we don't have any enemies drop this turn, but on our next turn, we're going to have more reinforcements come in. Unfortunately, again, not enough distance to get everybody into the evac zone, but that's okay because when enemies drop in from a Reaver, they don't attack. They actually have to wait a turn. The only exception to that is if you have Juvies or Grenadiers, something with that reactive attack, drop in and it gets right up next to you. If they move up towards you, then you do anything at all, you're going to get attacked on your turn. But thankfully they dropped 2 Grenadiers kind of close, 2 drones further over, and then the AI decides to drop 1 lone drone way over here. I don't know what the plan was there, but yeah, he's not a threat. So we're going to move up. You definitely could just jump into the extraction zone, be done. If you're feeling a little frisky, a little fighty, you could absolutely try to engage some of them to get a little extra XP, but hey, we're on Insane and we're just trying to get through. So we get into the extraction point. Gabe's going to give his little monologue about good news and bad news, and then we're going to cut out of this mission. Skip the cutscene because, well, seen it already. We get a power barrel, a power handle, and an impact for the Nasher for Disrupt. So we're going to open up these crates that we got for rewards and for scavenging on site. You see we got 2 skill points each for Gabe and Sid. And once I open these crates, that'll be the end of the video. So If you guys find these videos helpful, please keep an eye out as I will be uploading more videos in the near future. Until next time, bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Blades of God, and until next time, have a great day everyone.